Like Hogwarts Legacy and Stellar Blade before it, Black Myth Wukong has been targeted by activists within the industry who have been levying wild accusations towards Game Science, the developers, and individual people within this company, slamming article after article simply because these devs refuse to answer questions on baseless attacks. And now, of course, The Guardian has put out an article yet again slamming them, saying it's the summer's most exciting and controversial video game. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, there have been some wild rumors and accusations circulating on the internet for a while about Game Science and specifically Black Myth Wukong. This is a game that has faced a lot of attacks. At first, there were people who thought that it wasn't real because it looked so good, and then as we got closer to release and we saw more teasers and trailers, people kind of shifted the narrative to, oh, can they actually deliver all of their promises? And now we have this giant situation that has been on the internet for a while, since last November, accusing the director and also Game Science of being sexist. And, of course, since we are only about a month away from the full release of this game, which, of course, I'm very excited about, like most people, there are activists still writing hit pieces, trying their very best to get people not excited about this title. And the Guardian's article is titled "The Summer's Most Exciting and Most Controversial Video Game," and they practically throw a fit because the developers refuse to answer questions about these attacks. So the Guardian article says this beautiful looking action game is based on Journey to the West, but its own journey to release has hit a bump in the road. And towards the beginning, they are talking about their experiences with hands-on demos and how they did enjoy it, but they actually very early on go into the accusations. It says, "I am unfortunately met with very little honest communication when I bring up a report from IGN, which related alleged sexist comments from multiple developers at Game Science, as well as those in leadership roles. I present Ted with the opportunity to address the claims of misogynistic posts and whether he feels that they represent Game Science's values. Instead, I am shut down with a hasty no comment from their PR rep, and then after a long wait, given a statement of no comment via Ted's translator." They are allowed to do this. They went into this interview simply wanting to talk about the product they created and their game, and instead you're throwing these, accusations in their face saying, "Oh, what about the report from IGN?" Gamers from the West and also China actually proved the Game Science statements were mistranslated and misrepresented. But still, these activists are pushing this narrative. All of these articles say the same exact thing of, oh, you've been accused of misogynistic posts and being sexist, yet they're still promoting this IGN hit piece, which they should not be doing. And it's perfectly fine if these developers don't want to talk about these accusations being levied towards them, unless you told them at the beginning you wanted to discuss the controversy, which clearly you didn't, given the simple no comment answer you received. It should be fine. They just want to talk about their game. It says the same thing happened to an IGN reporter at a demo in LA last month. "It is disappointing that Game Science is opting to invite journalists to speak to them and play the game, but refusing to answer their questions." Why would Game Science want to discuss with IGN these accusations? It is proven that IGN mistranslated and misrepresented what the people at Game Science said. Why would they want to sit down and discuss this with them? Hell, why would they have any trust even in The Guardian, who is promoting these IGN mistranslations? I wouldn't want to, and I certainly understand why they don't want to. It says a generous reading of the situation would be that this inexperienced studio is petrified of saying the wrong thing. I don't think they're petrified of saying the wrong thing. I think they're petrified of cancel culture that these activists perpetuate. They can take one statement from one of these Game Science developers, twist it around, and then publish it in an article, and yes, it can hurt their reputation. It can damage their game. And Is IGN, again, going to issue a statement admitting that the original interview and articles were mistranslated? Of course not, because that doesn't fit their narrative. So again, I don't think they're petrified of saying the wrong thing. I think they're petrified of leeches like these activists. Now, of course, we have seen messages and posts from specifically the director of game science. And yeah, it does seem like he was extremely edgy and he made a lot of jokes that could be seen as a bit demeaning towards women. But in my opinion, as a woman, women jokes don't bother me. Jokes about women not being able to drive or women not being able to read maps, things like that don't really affect me. We're talking about the internet, and they were not levied towards a specific person, which does add a lot of important context to this situation. Now, maybe there is more that we haven't actually seen, but why would I sit here and trust these journalists when they've given us no reason to trust them? And when you look at what game science is making, clearly this is what people want. I mean, this game is extremely hyped up, as you can see on SteamDB. It is the #1 most wishlisted upcoming game on the platform. It's got 566,000 followers compared to #2, which is Silksong, at 294,000 followers. So basically double, which is insane to see. And there are a lot of really good games that are on this list, but at the same time, Wukong is absolutely dominating, and it's no shock to see why this game looks gorgeous. It seems like it's going to play really fun, and I will be streaming it at launch and supporting this title's release. I do think the social media situation that has surrounded this title is absolutely atrocious, and these activists should be ashamed of themselves. Now, of course, they're not, because they're fine with spreading around all these lies and not issuing statements, not issuing clarification, but all they have truly done is made this game receive a heck of a lot more social media attention. Everybody seems to be talking about Black Myth Wukong. Again, it's the most wishlisted upcoming game on Steam, and so far it seems like it deserves all of the hype that it's getting. It seems like it's going to be a fantastic title, and a few hit pieces from activists at The Guardian, IGN, Kotaku is not going to kill the excitement that's surrounding this game. So of course, I will be keeping my eye on this, and as we are getting closer to launch, I do think we are going to see a heck of a lot more hit pieces. But the same thing happened with games like Stellar Blade and games like Hogwarts Legacy, and look at those. They sold fantastically. The boycotts these journos were trying to muster together were epic failures, and I think they are going to continue to try to trash this game, and it's going to backfire for them. So far, it appears that it has already. But as of right now, we're seeing even more hit pieces, specifically from The Guardian, whining about how game science devs didn't want to talk to them about the alleged controversies that are surrounding their studio, even though The Guardian's just throwing in their face the fact that they believe IGN's reports. But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.